untap, upkeep, and welcome back to the channel if you've been here before, and if you haven't, then please sit back, relax, and enjoy our wild show for you today. So, as you can probably see by looking at your screen, somebody asked me to be very, very mean to you all, but I'm not sorry. Enjoy? Maybe? I don't know. This was actually a challenge issued to me by one of my commenters, Nicholas Graveland, if I'm remembering and reading that correctly. He, or he, they, I should probably say, the commenter, Nicholas, actually has been trying to build a Sheoldred the Apocalypse deck using Infect. He challenged me to do it, so I did. So, shout out to you, Nicholas. Thank you for all the love and support. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, and spread the word. And we'll see what other decks my wacky brain can come up with. This doesn't technically have a budget per se, but I wanted to keep it under like $300 or so, just to kind of make it like a plausible thing that could be built. I wasn't really given any kind of budget restriction at all for the deck. So we'll see how this goes. Again, sorry, not sorry. The commenter spoke, and this is what we're going to get. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of, let's dive into some evilness, shall we? First up, if you don't know what Sheoldred the Apocalypse is, and you don't know what she does, count yourself lucky first. Either way. So Sheoldred is a 2 black 4/5 Phyrexian Praetor. Okay, she has Death Touch. That's already really good, right? I mean, that's a pretty big body, cheap mana cost. What more could you want? Well, how about the fact that whenever you draw a card, you're going to gain 2 life. And whenever your opponents draw a card, they're going to lose 2 life. Yeah, we're going there. We are going there, and we're going to make people suffer. So, because of the fact she has a life drain, she doesn't deal damage. Anything that you could give her equipped or enchanted to give her Infect or Toxic won't work. But the fact that she is like, in this case, going to be like a passive drain, it gives us like a dual dimension to work with on the battlefield, because people have to be worried about dying to Infect, and they have to worry about being literally just drained to death. And I think it's a hilarious combination for our opponents to try and solve. And apologies for the weather is changing back and forth where I'm at, and well, I'm all of a sudden congested again, and this is not cool. So let's dive into our creatures as we look at Sheoldred, which, by the way, only build this, only play this if you plan on just being a menace and wanting people to target you. Because I'm here to tell you, you are going to be the target. You are going to be the first one. Everybody wants to die. So if you enjoy the fact that you're going to sit there and just cause absolute mayhem and panic for the battlefield, great, build this deck. If you cannot handle everybody going, you need to die, then maybe you shouldn't run this deck. And keep in mind, this is just a deck built from my brain. It's nowhere near as powerful or as synergized or anything like that as it probably could be. Like I said, we're kind of on a budget a little bit. I mean, still $300 is a lot of money, but we're just trying to do some janky things overall with a very powerful commander and a very powerful mechanic. So as we dive into the creatures, keep that in mind. A lot of them, as you could probably see, are very low mana cost. I wanted to keep the overall curve of this deck pretty low because we're going to be gunned right for it at the start. So Bilious Gull Dweller is just a simple 1 mana 1/1 with Death Touch, and it has Toxic 1, which, if you haven't played with Toxic before, it's like Infect, but a little bit worse. And it says players dealt combat damage by this creature will also get a poison counter. Now the difference is Toxic, it doesn't matter if we make this a 10-10 or not, it's still only going to deal 1 poison damage. The interesting thing is it says also gets a poison counter, so not only do you take the 1 damage from this creature, but then you get a poison counter. Whereas Infect, all that damage is counted in the form of a poison counter, not really damage. And with Infect, if you got the creature's power to go up, the more damage that they could do, the more Infect or poison counters they would actually get. So there's a little bit of a give and take on both mechanics. I think they're both fairly well to play in the same deck. I think they complement each other very well. Moving on, we have the White Belly Rat, just a 2 mana 2/2 Phyrexian Rat. It has Toxic 1, but more importantly, whenever it dies, it will proliferate. You know, if you've never seen proliferate before, let's talk about proliferate for a second. Proliferate says you could choose 80 number of permanents and or players that have a counter on them and add an additional 1 of those counters. You could do planeswalkers, -1 counters. You could do +1/+1 counters. You could do any kind of counter that a creature could have. You can actually make it so experience counters go up. You can most importantly make poison counters go up. Oop, my bad. So that's something to keep in mind. We are either going to turn sideways and start dealing infect damage this way, or somebody's going to eventually kill it and we'll just proliferate on top of it. Contagious Nim is a nice 3 mana 2/2 with Infect. Doesn't have flying or anything like that. But do keep in mind, creatures that are blocked or block when they have Infect deal. Excuse me. That came out of nowhere. They deal their damage in the form of -1/-1 counters. So even if this thing were to die, it still could put whatever was blocking it or it blocked down in power and toughness, because it would have 2 -2 -1 counters, not -2. I mean, that's also pinning like first strike damage and stuff like that. Just just a regular 2/2 creature attacking into this would kill it, but if it was like a 3/3, it would become a 1/1 because then would get 2 -1/-1 counters. Core Prowler, 4 mana, 2/2 with Infect, but it has the same thing as our rat. If it dies, we're able to proliferate. This is a key card in the deck, if you ask me, in my 2 cents. This is Dread Presence. We are mono black, so this works very, very well, in my opinion. So whenever a swamp enters the battlefield under your control, choose one of the following. We're either A, going to draw a card and lose a life. Well, with Sheoldred out, we're actually going to gain that life as we draw a card. Or, more importantly, it deals 2 damage to any target and you gain 2 life. So what that means is if we have a way to give it Infect or Toxic, or whichever the case, we're able to start slamming down some damage. We also have Festermite, which has Infect and Lifelink. The Pestilent Siphoner, y'all, English is hard. English is straight up hard. It's just a 2 mana 1/1 flyer with Toxic 1 though. Necropede, kind of the same thing, 2 mana 1/1 with Infect. This is another one that I thought would be hilarious to throw into this deck. For 3 mana and a 5/5 flying body, we get Master of the Beast. That says at the beginning of our upkeep, everybody gets to draw a card, but us. Well, with our commander out, that means we're draining the table on our turn. Gotta like it. We also have Ichor Rats. When it enters the battlefield, everybody's going to get a counter. It's a 2/1 with Infect. Ichor Claw has Infect, of course, and whenever it becomes blocked, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn. It's just a simple little 1/1. Flesh Eater Imp, 4 mana for a 2/2 flyer with Infect. It also has... Excuse me, I don't know why these yawns keep coming out of nowhere. Are some of y'all yawning out there in YouTube land and not telling me? Are y'all a little slack? You're slacking on your sleep a little bit. Let's have a game here. Let's chill out. Back to my imp. He has another ability, see? So, whenever you sacrifice a creature, you are able to give this thing a +1/+1. Well, we don't have a whole lot of creatures to make that happen, so we're not really worried about that. It's really here because it's a 2/2 flyer with Infect. This is a really good card in this deck. This is Phyrexian Crusader. For 3 mana, we get a 2/2 Zombie Knight with First Strike, protection from red, and protection from white, plus it has Infect. People, the thing that makes this scary is the fact that it has protection from red and white, meaning you cannot target it with single spot removal of those colors, and you cannot block it with a creature of those colors. So the other part to that is if it blocks one of those creatures with those colors, they don't deal the damage. He does. Uh-oh. The way that protection works is very, very deep, and it's something I might do for a future video. If that has any kind of interest, then hey, comment right now. Let me know if you would like a breakdown of how protection actually works, and we will go over it in a video. Moving forward, though, we have Phyrexian Digester, 3 mana for a 2/1 with Infect. The Plague Mirror is just a little mana dork with Infect. Plague Stinger, 1/1 flyer with Infect. This is another really annoying card in this deck. The Sprawling Crawler, at the beginning of our upkeep, each player is going to draw a card. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player loses 1 life. So essentially, with this and our commander, we can lightning bolt people without having red. Isn't that funny? Potentially, if you have this out, the Master of the Feast, and excuse me, our commander out, we can make everybody draw 1 card from the Scrawler, dealing them 3, and then the Master can deal another 3. So they just took 6 damage on our turn, and we didn't do anything but draw cards. We didn't even get that far. We just took our turn. Scion, Perverter of Truth. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses 2 life and draws 2 cards. This, again, is just an annoying little drain for our opponents to have to deal with. Whispering Spectre, 3 mana for a 1/1 flyer with Infect. Not that great. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, though, we may sacrifice it. And if we do, that player discards a card for each poison counter he or she controls. We, of course, have the Sad Robot. And then our final Infect creature is the Septic Rats, which whenever it attacks, a defending player has poison, it gets a +1/+1 until end of turn. I'm actually thinking of swapping out the Sad Robot with another card that I really think would be great. Let's go through the rest of the deck, and I'll look it up here in a minute, and we'll see if that's really something I want to do. We are, of course, running Dark Deal. It is the Black Wheel of Fortune with a bad downside in a way. So, for 3 mana, we can play this card. And each player will discard all the cards in their hand, and then they will draw that many cards -1. So this is a nice way to have some really big impact and really big life swings with our commander on the battlefield. We have Diabolic Tutor and Unstable Avarice to help us tutor anything we might actually need. And notably, the Avarice actually has another part of its ability that is very, very interesting. So if we play this just for 1 mana and then put 2 more into it, we can search our library for a card, shuffle, and put that card on top. We get it to Vamp Tutor or even Imperial Seal at that point. Now, if we pay 2 more, we're able to do the next part to this, which is target player draws 3 cards and loses 3 life. So if we needed to, you could pay 5 mana. We're able to go find something, put it on top, and then lose 3 life to draw 3 cards. With our commander out, we actually gain some life. We gain 2 life per card, so we actually gain 3 life when all the dust settles. Something to keep in mind with this, though, is it says target player, so you could actually just pay 3 mana and make your opponent draw 3 cards with our commander out, and they will lose 2 life per card, meaning they lose 6, and then they lose the 3 on top of it. Excuse me. So it is a pretty interesting way to end the game. We also have Knight's Whisper for some more card draw. Read the bones to scry and draw some cards. Infectious Inquiry allows us to draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, and then everybody that's our opponent will get a poison counter. Sign in Blood is our last sorcery speed card draw effect in the deck, and it is very interesting because, kind of like the average, it says target player. Y'all, I'm here to tell you, don't underestimate this card. Just just don't do it, because I have seen a game. I've been a part of a game. Somebody was at 2 life, passed the turn, hoping they could survive. Next person played a Sign in Blood, made them draw 2 cards and lose 2 life, and they died. It was quite the hilarious match. We are running a mass board wipe with Toxic Deluge, and I thought this would be great to try in here as well. Pheresis Outbreak. So each opponent's going to get a poison counter. Then each creature your opponent's control will get a -1/-1 until end of turn for each poison counter its controller has. So at the very least, if we pay the 3 mana to play this early, we could take out all a few mana dorks and things like that. Maybe a horde of goblins. Nothing too special, but we're looking to do quite a bit of infect damage. Drawing an Ichor, target creature will get -4/-4 until end of turn, and we can proliferate. Feed the Swarm is another way to blow up a creature or enchantment, but will lose life equal to its mana cost. Death's Summons. So for 4 mana, we can say we're going to be able to return 1 creature card from our graveyard to the battlefield. But if for each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters, we could choose something from their graveyard as well. So I thought it was a nice include in a overall mono black infect deck. Moving forward, let's check out our instances, which we're not running too many of them, not honestly. So we have Infernal Grasp to deal with some spot removal. We have Dismember to deal with some spot removal. Whisper of the Dross, Withering Torment, Grim Affliction. Even Imp's Mischief could be considered a spot of removal because it can change the target of a spell to anything we would like. Now we lose life equal to its mana cost, but that's okay. We also have Baleful Mastery that allows us to just straight up exile a creature or a planeswalker. And if we just pay the 1 colorless and the black instead of the total 4 mana that it originally is, we have an opponent draw a card, which with our commander out, we kind of want you to draw cards anyway, so toodaloo. Sheoldred's Edict allows us to play this at instant speed and make people sack either a non-token creature, a creature token, or a planeswalker. And finally, we have Rascal's Fall. Each opponent has to sacrifice a creature or planeswalker, and they will get a poison counter. Dark Petition is just Dark Ritual, just a nice way to, possibly drop Shelly turn 2 and make everybody go, I'm sorry, what? I do apologize for the stuffiness in my nose. And breathing through my mouth makes it a little difficult to talk. Can't win for lose tonight, y'all. Just can't do it. But we're gonna power through. We're almost done, and we're gonna see some nonsense, I'm sure. So let's go through our artifact package, shall we? We are running the Arcane Signet, the Commander Sphere, Mind Stone, Thought Vessel, Prismatic Lens, Wayfarer's Bubble, the Ring, and a Felwar Stone. A bonus to our Mana Rock package is the Glistening Sphere. So it enters the battlefield tapped, and when it enters the battlefield, proliferate. Then we can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. However, if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters on them, we can tap it to add 3 mana of any 1 color of our choice. In this situation, we can tap it at 3 black mana and keep our mana pool fresh and full. Yeah. Staff of Completion is another really great card in this deck and has a selection of modes that you can choose from. So you can tap it to do any of the following except for the last ability. So you could tap it to pay 1 life, destroy target permanent you own. Pay 2 life, add 1 mana of any color, so it's a mana rock at the cost of some life. Tap, pay 3, proliferate, which by the way can be done at instant speed as long as it's untapped. Pay 4 life to draw a card, and then we can pay 5 mana to untap our staff. Late game, that might become relevant, it might not. We're not really trying to go infinite with mana or nothing, we're here to just wreck everybody's day and just make them all miserable as possible. I don't know why. Moving forward, we have a couple of equipment with the Lightning Greaves, the Swiftfoot Boots, of course. We also are running Contagion class, though not in equipment. It enters the battlefield and put a -1/-1 counter on a creature, and then we can pay 4 to tap it and proliferate. That is at instant speed. This is one of our fun pieces to go onto our wonderful skeleton friend up there in the creature section. So for 4 mana, we get Grafted Exoskeleton. It is an equipment artifact with equip cost of 2 mana. 2 mana. Anyway, a quick creature gets a +2/+2. It has Infect, and whenever it becomes unattached from a permanent, sacrifice that permanent. So where that becomes handy is Dread Presence up here, our little Nightmare Skeleton friend. He would make him a 5/5 with Infect, and then whenever we play a land, we're going to deal 2 damage to any target and gain 2 life. So we're going to hit somebody in the face with 2 damage from, him having Infect, and just poo-poo on their whole day. And not to mention, we could give it to the Master of the Feast over here. He would become a 7/7 flyer with Infect. Ooh. Ooh. The Siphoner would become a 3/3 with Infect and flying. Plague Stinger's a 3/3. Whispering Spectre's a 3/3. The Imp would be a 4/4. So, it has some potential to be equipped to any of our creatures and actually just start turning them sideways. Last but not least, we have the Contagion Engine. It's just a big brother version of the Contagion class. So whenever it enters the battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature target player controls. So we can wipe out an entire horde of goblins or elves. Potentially, but just dropping this card before any of the lords have made it out. Then for the immediately cost of 4 mana and tapping it, we can proliferate twice. So we could potentially still board wipe somebody or, kill somebody with this. Entirely our choice. Lastly, we have Temple Bell because we're just going to make people draw cards. I don't care if you don't want to draw the card because you think you're about to die. Get news for you, homie. You're going to draw that card and you're going to die thanks to Shelly. Because hopefully we have the Greaves or the Boots on her to protect her. Moving forward to our enchantment package, we have Greed. So for a black mana and paying 2 life, we could draw a card, which becomes cost neutral when you include the fact that Shelly allows us to gain 2 life every time we draw a card. Phyrexian Arena, kind of a similar effect. At the beginning of our upkeep, we're going to draw a card and lose 1 life, but when Shelly's out, we actually gain 1 life, and then we gain 2 more life whenever we draw a card for the turn. Yeah. We have 2 more ways to give everything Infect, which is the Phyresis itself. Enchanted creature has Infect and Glistening Oil. Now the oil will come back anytime that creature has died, and it has a little side effect of at the beginning of each upkeep, put in -1/-1 counter on enchanted creature. Slight down effect, but that's okay. Let's look at our mana base real quick. Everything's pretty much what you would expect to see in anything that's mono black. The command tower's in here just because, why not? You could take it out for just about anything. Probably an ancient tomb if you have one and you're just trying to put your foot on the gas pedal a little bit more. We're running Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, just to kind of thin the deck out a little bit. Reliquary Tower, which I don't think will actually become a thing for no max hand size. Excuse me. Would y'all stop yawning? I know you're tired. I know you're watching me. I know you're listening to the video. I know your eyelids are getting heavy. But please, hold on. We're almost done. We're almost done, y'all. We got this. No more yawning, okay? Down. No more yawning. Murex, if you've played any kind of standard, especially on Arena, you know what this does. I'm, of course, running my one piece of land, Destruction, that I always recommend running in every deck because you just never know. If you're wondering why, then please go check out the video I did about the spooky lands that exist in Commander. I might even link it to this video. We're running 22 basic swamp. We have Urza's Cave to help us find a couple of different lands in this deck that we may or may not need. We have Vonder's Enclave to draw us another card. Karn's Bastion can instant speed proliferate. Urborg, the Tomb of Yurgmirth, makes everything a swamp in addition to its other types. It doesn't just replace it like Blood Moon or Magnus in the Moon. No, this just says everything is now a swamp in addition to whatever else it was. It actually means Camorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds, actually you don't have to tap and sacrifice them because they're actually a swamp, so they actually make you mana. Just something to keep in mind if you ever get to late game with that. And to see, this is one of those lands that, you know, you might want to think about popping with something like a Field of Ruin if you actually pay attention to my videos. The other one would be this one right here, the Cobalt Coffers. So for 2 mana, we get a land that says, tap, add 1 mana for each swamp you control. Now, it's very crucial when you're getting your opening hand. Pay attention to what you have. Cobalt Coffers will not make you mana on its own. You must have like Urborg out or something similar, or enough mana that you can pay into this and then it doesn't matter. Cabal Stronghold is a similar card to the Coffers. There are a couple of big key differences. For one, it can tap to add a mana of not any color, but colorless mana on its own. That already to me seems better. Pardon me. The part that makes it worse is you have to pay 3, tap it, to add swamp or a black for each basic swamp you control. That means Urborg will not work for this card. It only cares about the number of basic, actual factual swamps you have on the battlefield. So if you do not have enough, this is probably not going to be that great with its other ability. But it still is a land that produces a mana and can still count towards Cabal Coffers if you have Urborg out. Now, another key piece I've added to this is the Mukokaru, Center of the Sea. So for 2 mana, we could tap it and make everybody draw a card with our commander out. That's a lot of drain. And then we have Gyreach Sanitarium, who does similar thing, except for everybody's going to draw and discard. So as you can see, we're very, very focused on our commander, but we're not to the point where, like, the underlying thing of people dying from infect damage is not something that is unlikely to happen. So, want to see. This is a card I'm thinking about putting into this deck over the Sad Robot. Now it's going to jump our budget. We're going to be over our 275, but let's go over this. Now it's the same mana cost. It's still 4 mana. So we're not going up or down there. Kind of take that as you will. But Teferi's Puzzle Box. 4 mana, we get an artifact that says at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player puts the cards in his or her hand on the bottom of his or her library in any order. Then draws that many cards. That might actually go into this deck now that I'm thinking about it, just because it is ridiculously dumb. This is another way to very quickly just drain our opponents and make them suffer. So let's remove our saddest of robots. We only got 20 creatures, which I mean is a lot when you consider its commander. We're very artifact heavy, which I guess we kind of can't help. We have a decent mix of everything here. Like I said, this is not like an optimized, go for the throat kind of. No, we're not there. This is kind of janky, kind of a fun experimental idea, and it was built by request from our viewer and commenter, Nicholas. So shout out to you, my guy. This was built for you, and I hope you enjoy the monstrosity I've built. As you can see, as we continue on with the last bit of this video, the mana curve for this is really low, which is great. That's what I was trying to go for. Wow. We're not really going pretty far out of the gates here, but we could have a turn 2 Shelly. Turn 3 Shelly. We're hitting land drops, so we'll be able to go there. We don't even have to drop Shelly if we don't really feel like it, which I don't know why you wouldn't. But I mean, we could hold her and just keep Toxic Deluge up and make people think they're safe. Oh yeah, man, this was getting pretty nasty. Oh, I didn't mean to hit that button. But it looks like we're fairly consistently getting 2 or 3 mana in our opening hand. This is quite the flood of mana, actually. Oh, there's a 2/2 turn 2 Shelly. We like that. Let's go. Oh god, and then a Temple Bell. Oh yeah, our opponents would be just crying their eyes out right now. Oh goodness. Good night. Everybody's dead. They're all dead. Just kind of click it through for some sample hands though. As you can see, we're able to do some stuff. We're able to get up off the ground a little bit, and it could be modified, it could be tweaked, it could be made better. Like for instance, we don't have the One Ring in here, which would be like probably the biggest bombshell of an upgrade you could do for this deck. And I'm sure there's probably some more splashy creatures or a little bit better synergy with the Infect capability part of the deck that we could put in here. But as far as like a baseline to build a deck, I think it works fairly well. Because in my opinion, I think and feel it works very well due to the fact that we're attacking people from 2 different axes. So they have to worry about Shelly draining their life total, but then they also have to worry about all this infect and poison damage that could be coming their way. So people have to kind of come together at a point, I guess you could say, and go, he's got to die. He has got to die. So, I don't know. I kind of like that aspect of it. I think it's funny. I think it's great. So, if you have a deck idea that you're struggling to build, not really sure where to go with it, leave me a comment below. On any of my videos that you have watched, leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. You know, is there a budget restriction? What direction are you trying to do? What do you think is possible? And I will see if I can toss something together and go from there. That's actually how a lot of my decks get built, believe it or not. I've got a friend of mine, he comes over every weekend, and man, oh man, let me tell you, he comes up with some off-the-wall decks that at first I'm sitting there going, that ain't gonna, oh, wait, hold on. We need to do this. Okay, hold on, let me build this online real quick, because I have this in my head. And we go from there. Which brings me to another part of my video before we get to the end and the closing of this video. Give me a comment, yes, if you would like for me to kind of walk everybody through my process of how I build a deck and where I go from there. Not everybody's a very good deck builder, and I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a very good deck builder. I have other people that tell me I am. Other people tell me I'm a very strong duelist. Other people tell me, dude, you're a very, very good deck builder. I don't personally see myself as that. I see myself as a pretty okay to good deck builder on most platforms I'm doing. You know, most ways I'm building a deck. But comment yes, show me how you build. If you're interested to see a little bit more in depth of where do I go, how do I do it, kind of thing, and I'll try to piece together something here soon if that's something everybody would like to see, and maybe I can help you build your deck. And maybe one day you'll be a good deck builder and hopefully a way better deck builder than me. It really shouldn't take very much. So with that though, I would like to tell everybody the deck description for this will be down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave me some comments, show me some love so I can keep building and growing this content for all of you. We have some other things I'm still trying to work on to come onto the channel, and we might be experimenting with some videos here and there. Do keep in mind, I am no professional by any way, shape, or form. So a lot of these videos are going to be raw, they're going to be uncut, and we're just going to hit the hammer running. So, you know, it is what it is, I guess. But show me some love, help me out, and leave me some comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Do you like this Sheoldred deck? Is there something you would change? Is there anything you would make better? Do you think something should be swapped around to make it better or worse for your opponents? My best advice for you, use this as an arch enemy deck and make everybody miserable. With that said, I have been the Buddha Dragon. Don't forget, rub that belly for mana and make all of your games be filled with luck. Until the next time, you're gonna kill them.